Jinger Duggar claimed he would leave 1/19 of his estate to each of his children. Jinger Duggar told his daughter she would inherit an equal share of his estate. In documents revealed through Jill Dillard's book, Counting the Cost, she sets out to do exactly that. Only it's her dad's costs that are listed in the book. Apparently, after Jill asked her dad for money she discovered he had claimed to have paid her, his response was to charge her for the costs of raising her. Jinger sent Jill an itemized bill that included things like the going rate for rent while she lived at home, utilities, the cost of her car, her cell phone and gas expenses, and eating out $100 with family debit card for 8 years. In that letter, Jinger also seemed to threaten Jill with cutting her off from her potential inheritance because she asked for money that Jinger apparently told the IRS he had paid directly to his daughter. Jill, when Mom and I pass on, you are set to receive 1/19 of everything we own that is set up in a trust for you kids. If you attack us, probably your inheritance will be lowered significantly. Jinger Duggar. Because the quoted versions of Jinger's letter to Jill don't include its original send date, some things are up for interpretation, including who might be left out of that 19-kid count. Given that the Duggars had reportedly adopted Michelle's nephew, Tyler Hutchins, in 2016, it's possible that Jinger was including Tyler in the 1/19 count and leaving someone else out, such as Josh Duggar, who had already had multiple scandals, including the Ashley Madison hack, by that point. However, because the timing of Jinger's comments is unclear and related to Jill's pursuit of what she felt she was rightly owed, it's not clear, without context, whether Jill accepted her father's offer. Odds are she didn't, especially since she took her dad to court at some point during their arguments. Given his apparent threats, that could mean that Jill has been removed from the family inheritance list. Given that the family has 19 children, Tyler no longer being counted as he reportedly moved back in with his grandparents, no one Duggar would get a massive amount of cash, but Jinger Duggar is said to be worth around $3.5 million. That estimate includes earnings from Duggar's real estate dealings and reality TV paychecks. However, it's unclear what those estimates are based on, and whether Jinger's claims to the IRS, where he claimed to have paid his kids, but apparently didn't, have impacted the reporting of his net worth. If Duggar is worth $3.5 million, then each of his 19 children would receive around $184,000 from his estate. Clearly, the more kids are disinherited, the more the other siblings stand to receive, and Jinger hasn't outright said he's nixing anyone else from his will. It can be assumed that Tyler Hutchins isn't included, as court dealings specify that the Duggars kept his money separate, but it's not clear whether Jinger plans to cut Josh out of his will either. Josh may not have been behind bars when Jinger issued his ultimatum. Either way, given that their other kids accused Daddy Duggar of giving Josh preferential treatment, it's only logical that Jinger plans to leave an equal share to Josh. However, Jill Dillard might not have a share at all after her feud with her father. Fans think Jinger Duggar Vuolo had another baby. Why? Counting on alum Jinger Duggar Vuolo is raising some eyebrows following her husband's latest post. The 30-year-old mom has been keeping her followers in touch about her life in Los Angeles with Jeremy. The two have been traveling and sharing their lavish lifestyle with the fans. But at the same time, they still keep their faith strong and often give words of wisdom to people. Many fans have also been curious if Jinger and Jeremy are done with having kids. However, the married couple's latest appearance created speculation that they may have already welcomed the new one. Keep reading to see why. Counting on, Jinger Duggar shows athletic side. One of the latest updates from Jinger was about an impressive clip of herself running on the street while being recorded by her family in the car. Jeremy and their daughters can be heard cheering for Jinger. Many Counting On fans were also impressed to see the athletic side of the sixth Duggar child. Aside from her physical goals, Jinger has also been participating in interviews and conferences where she shares parts of her book, Becoming Free Indeed. Fans think Jinger had another baby. In an Instagram post, Jinger Vuolo shared random pictures about his family over the past few days. Some of the photos include his daughters and a clip of what appears to be an eagle. But what caught the attention of many was the picture of Jinger with a baby stroller. It's known that Evangeline and Felicity are big enough to be in a stroller. Due to this, some commenters asked if they had another child. But others defended the counting on alums and pointed out that Evangeline is not too big to be in one asterisk. Did you have another child, or is the stroller for one of your two girls? Asterisk, did they have another baby? Their girls are too big for a stroller. Asterisk, Evangeline is not too big for a stroller. Asterisk, their second daughter is only 3 years old. Geez, don't tell them how to parent their girls. Counting on, Jinger Duggar showed interest in having a third child. In April, Jinger took to IG stories to answer several fan questions. One of them is about her interest in having a third child. According to the Counting On alum, they're loving this season with their girls. However, she doesn't reject the idea of having another child in the future. We've always thought it would be nice to have 3. So, we'll see, she said. Aside from having another child, Jinger Duggar Vuolo has also expressed her interest in pursuing higher education. It's known that Michelle and Jim Bob raised their kids through homeschooling, and the majority of them never got to study in college. But it seems Jinger wants to make history by being the first Duggar to do so. If you are looking for more Duggar family news, come back to TV Shows Ace for all your updates. Jim Bob Duggar is cutting some of his kids out of his will. VEOYNR PUBLSHED 18HOURSAGO. After all the family drama, Jim Bob Duggar is removing at least one of his kids from his will, but there might be multiple. IGHLIGHTS*, Jim Bob Duggar hoarded wealth, leaving little for his kids despite their contributions to the family through TLC and other endeavors. Jim Bob threatened to cut off Jill's inheritance over money disputes, sending an itemized bill for raising her at home. With Jim Bob Duggar worth $3.5 million, each of his 19 kids would receive around $184,000 if included in the will. The Duggar family started off quite frugal at the beginning of their days on TLC. But years later, the family was raking in the cash thanks to not just TLC's reality series, but also gifts and donations from people in their community. The Duggars were even accused of taking gifts they didn't need, given that Jim Bob already had income from rental properties and other endeavors. Given the large paychecks from TLC, viewers might assume that all the Duggars were wealthy, including the now adult kids of Jim Bob and Michelle. However, based on his kids' admissions and the contracts Jim Bob had them sign, it seems all the money went to him. The one bright spot: Jim Bob says he's leaving his money to his kids when he's gone, except one kid might have been cut out. Here's what we know about Jim Bob Duggar's plan for his children's inheritance, including who's being left out and how much